Ashley Barnes, and my major is organizational leadership. And organizational leadership is the focus on human resources in organizational structural cultures, motivation, and managing conflict in a leading way. My oral presentation is on locus of control and then the well-being at work. So first off, let me explain what locus of control is. It's the position of your control. You have your internal and you have your external. And so your internal locus of control is your ability to make your own decisions and control your outcomes. And then you have your external, that are things that happen to you outside of your normal day. So you can get in a car wreck, you can break your leg, you can have an organizational disaster. And how you can handle those situations is your ability to understand your internal locus of control. So I made a poster where your internal person will be saying things, I make things happen and look at the things that I can do. And then your external is the person saying, why do better and why do things happen to me? So if you are meeting somebody that's saying those types of things, you can say, well, you can do better. Why? Because you can make your own decisions. So when summarizing the article of locus of control and well-being, the two hypotheses the researchers were attempting to settle was, first, would locus of control measure between the work and well-being throughout different nations? And then second, would locus of control have any influence on individuals and their collectivism and their values through other countries that were based on the idea of independence? The first hypothesis, researchers were questioning the theory of employees with the ability of internal locus of control and how that showed a positive correlation to job satisfaction and job participation. The second hypothesis was focused on the relationship between an already established external locus of control in different nations and how it influenced the employees' well-being throughout that organization as well. It was noted that the internal control was about one's belief or religion, that how was an important factor when they handled stress throughout work. And to begin, researchers conducted a survey on stress levels of each manager and how they would handle a scenario in that organization. So they would sit them down and they would give them a scenario and the stress indicator, and they would ask them, what would you do in this situation? And the second study was conducted on how individual countries' belief system was, quote, taught to value independence and achievement throughout their own actions, end quote. The research study was measured on 24 geopolitical entities spread across 5 different continents. A survey and a questionnaire were taken across a wide spread of cultures to verify if individualism and collectivism had any or the same effect on well-being throughout that country. They also studied how one acted in their external locus of control and by how their society norms have taught them. The researchers collected information for each entity on their age, education, marital status, and organizational tenure. On each survey that was conducted, the common question was, how did belief and the control affect the employee's locus of control in the workplace? So in other words, the internal locus of control is how well you can handle your external locus of control. The second hypothesis was difficult to conduct as the questionnaire to managers on their stress indicators actually became out to be biased because each person is different in how they handle stress. And how they measured and organized this study, they made a table created for each different entity on the locus of control, job satisfaction, mental well-being, and they put physical well-being in there as well. In hypothesis 1, the results showed in hypothesis 1, the results showed a correlation in locus of control and job satisfaction between the U.S. sample and other entities like Belgium and Brazil. Locus of control and psychological well-being actually showed results to be random and actually concluded to be non-significant. In hypothesis 2, the results showed a correlation between individuals and collectivism and well-being. The correlations were from negative 0.7 to 1.2 for job satisfaction, which is pretty good. So to review, Hypothesis 1 was conducted on comparing the correlations of locus of control in the workplace and well-being throughout the 24 different samples. Hypothesis 2 focused on the idea that individuals would positively correlate to cultural norms and independence in different nations and how they would be affected in the well-being in organizations. Even though the study had limitations, it showed results of how your internal is so important to your external and how it can contribute to one another. The survey also proved to be non-significant in some cases, such as they put physical well-being in there, but it just concluded to be extremely non-significant. There is no correlation whatsoever. And then there was a slight correlation found in self-control and psychological well-being, and it was inconclusive also in physical well-being. So this study, in my opinion, could be a useful resource to conduct periodically throughout different entities as cultures change, how new generations grow older, everyday society norms are evolving. I believe this survey should be presented to managers around different nations to clarify if there is a difference in cultural norms and how it affects us, and we can also learn from one another to become more efficient. Throughout this article, I was generally interested to find out the results, different beliefs, and how one functions by their teachings and based on their society intrigues me. It pleases me that the study was conducted across a broad spectrum of countries and a variety of different cultures. I believe that it's important to have a sense of internal locus of control. So for the times that the external part becomes overwhelming, it won't be so unbearable in the workplace and in life in general.